Perfect.
Thank goodness. I appreciate everyone's patience. You were appearing twice and you were near the bottom of the list.
That is my life story. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Both of us, I appreciate it. As the virtual world goes, we do have technology issues, but we're all up and running. It is Friday. It's Friday of the long weekend. So let's have some fun. Let's travel through Transylvania. For those of you who don't know me and haven't joined me with Lisa before, my name is Jordana Botting. My role with Viking is I get to work with amazing Lisa to bring the world of Viking to you, our mutual clients. So a little bit about me. I've worked in the cruise travel industry for over 20 years. I've been on over 70 cruises in my career, anywhere from a 30-passenger yacht to a 5,000-passenger megaship. And what I love about working for Viking is we believe a trip should be more than just a trip. We believe it should be a doorway to cultural incitement and personal enrichment. And of course, we believe the best way to do that is by the world's rivers, oceans, and now the Great Lakes. So for those of you joining that have been on Lisa's past virtual webinars and have joined me before, welcome back. For our new attendees, let me give you a brief overview of who Viking Cruises is. So we began sailing Russia's waterways with our first 4 ships 23 years ago, offering the most unique and culturally enriching itineraries possible. And this began the journey of the modern river cruise industry as we know it today. In 2015, we reinvented ocean cruising by offering the same destination-focused cruising we offer on the rivers, on the oceans. And this has led us to become the top-rated small ship ocean cruise line. Our ships, they only have 930 passengers. Now, after leading the river cruise industry for over 2 decades, reinventing ocean cruising, we are now taking our destination-focused cruising to the far reaches of the globe and close to home on the Great Lakes with Viking Expedition. With Viking, you'll be able to explore all 7 continents, 95 different countries, 403 ports. You'll be able to sail 20 different rivers, 5 oceans, and of course, the 5 Great Lakes. Now, while much about cruising is about bigger ships, more theme park style attractions on the ships, at Viking, we are taking a different approach by focusing on the destination and the people of the destination. So we've created our cruises for that curious traveler. So if you are that person that wants to get into the most intimate nuances of the destination and learn about all the history, the culture, the geography, and you want to travel with like-minded people, well, Viking Cruise might be the cruise for you. We sail into the heart of our destination, allowing us to stay in port longer, allowing you more time to explore some of the world's greatest cities and their quaint towns. Now, as an effective operator, we like to pass the savings on to our guests. So we make sure we provide you with a cruise fare with everything you're going to need, from meals to beverages to free Wi-Fi, and we even include shore excursions. And you combine that all with our award-winning crew who will meet and exceed your expectations and only having to unpack once. A Viking cruise is an excellent way to explore the world in comfort. So today, well, we are going to explore Transylvania. So we are going to travel virtually through Transylvania. Thinking of Transylvania for me sparks beautiful childhood memories of Dracula and vampire legends, all focused, of course, around the Bran Castle, which is pictured here. We all know this famous castle. However, Transylvania couldn't be more opposite. It's more like a fairy tale land, and it's one of the most picturesque areas in Europe, alongside, of course, Tuscany and Provence. Now, it was settled 2,000 years ago by the Dacians, and Transylvania is full of history and traditions. And throughout the years, Romanian villagers have bravely endured and preserved all of these traditions in their way of life. Today, I'm looking forward to sharing some of the history, some of the splendid scenery, their forbidding castles and medieval towns, and I'm going to share with you one of the world's best driving roads. I'll end my presentation today, hopefully making it sure that Transylvania will be on your must-do list. So it's large. We can see in this map here, it is lodged in the far corner of Eastern Europe. And Transylvania is not a town or a small patch of land. It makes up a third of Romania, and it's larger in size than Austria. When planning your trip here, you need a minimum of 3 to 5 days to travel between all the different parts of Transylvania and understand why the region is so famous. Now, one of the questions I get asked all the time on my webinars is, when is the best temperature, the best season to go? So the best time to visit Romania would be through mid-May through September. Visiting Romania in late spring, early fall, to me, Lisa and I both discussed this before, we like traveling during this time because it's the best temperature. It's still sunny out, but you're not going to have all the crowds and the hot temperatures like the summertime. And also, when you're traveling on either side of summer, in the spring, you're going to be able to see the wild flowered filled meadows. You'll see the incredible autumn foliage in the fall as well. Let's dive in and explore some of the top attractions. The first attraction is the Peleș Castle. Now, this is nestled at the foot of Busege Mountains, and it's in the picturesque town of Sinaia. And the Peleș Castle is a masterpiece of German New Renaissance architecture. It's considered to be one of the most stunning castles in Europe. So the castle was commissioned by King Carol in 1873. It was completed 10 years later in 1883, and it served as a summer residence for the royal family until 1947. Now, this castle has 160 different rooms, and they're adorned with some of the finest examples of European art. You're going to see Murano crystal chandeliers, German stained glass windows throughout. And they actually have their walls covered in Cordoba leather. Now, each room is very distinct. It's decorated different. King Carol basically spared no expense in building this castle. It was actually the first European castle to have electricity. It even has its own power plant. It has hot and cold running water, central heating, and a central vacuum system. Now, I tried to find a picture of this for you, but what is the most incredible thing in this castle is they have a stained glass window in the foyer that is one of the basically sunroofs. It opens mechanically. So they even have a small elevator in this castle. So while the castle was being built, though, remember, it took 10 years to build this castle. The royal family actually stayed at the Sina Monastery. Now, the monastery is worth visiting as well. So it's in the town, and the monastery was founded by Prince Mihai. It was founded in 1695, and it was named after the great Sina Monastery and Mount Sina. Now, the initial plan for the monastery was to hold 12 monks. So it's to intimidate, of course, the 12 apostles, right? But nowadays, that is not the case. It is actually occupied today by 13 Christian Orthodox monks. And it is absolutely beautiful inside and out. Now, our next stop is Brașov. Now, this is a fairy tale town. The town itself is neither small nor big. It's actually a very vibrant city sprinkled with multicolored Baroque buildings adorned with, and you can kind of see it in this picture, medieval spires. You got the terracotta tiled roofs. And it lays right at the base of Mount Tampa there. Now, there's 250,000 people that live here, and the town offers quite a lot of things to do. They're perfect. A cobblestone old town is stunning. You'll find many surprises as you're wandering through. And then, of course, there is the beautiful Mount Tampa that we're looking at right here. It is actually on the east end of the city, and it is flanked on both sides by hiking trails. And you can kind of see it up at the top right corner. It's kind of flanked with its own Hollywood-style sign that states Brașov. You can go up there, you can make a trip. So for my active people, there is 2 hiking paths. So it takes about an hour to go up the hiking path. But if you're like me and don't want to go on a big hike while you're on vacation, don't worry about it because there is a cable car that will take you up. If you want to walk to the Brașov line, one of the things I do want to recommend is make sure you bring some comfortable shoes because it is a little bit of a rocky terrain up there. Another thing I have to say, you need to see the Libertary Bear Sanctuary. So, of course, Romania is known for bears, circuses all throughout the country, right? So this sanctuary is home to over 70 bears that were rescued out of cages in different circuses throughout the country. We will take you on a walking tour. So you will get a chance to go through the old town of Brașov, and it's immaculately preserved. It oozes an incredible amount of charm. They have these narrow cobblestone lanes that lead you on a medieval treasure hunt, the best way I can describe it. You'll get to pass the Black Church, which is here, and it's called so the Black Church because of its black walls due to a big fire in 1689. You'll also get to see Catherine's Gate, which is the last bit of the city wall remaining, which was built in 1559. Now, I mentioned the streets are like mazes, so there are these incredible cobblestone streets. What we're looking at here is the Piazza Safuli, and this is their main square, which is a big square lined with incredible cafes, restaurants. As you're going through the streets, there's all these great bohemian cafes, art galleries. You'll find a lot of artisans with these handy handcraft shops, homemade clothes, jewelry, and wooden artifacts. But one of the things you have to see when you're in Brașov is what they call Strada Fui. Now, this is translated into Rope Street, and it's probably one of the most interesting spots. So what it is, it's tucked between rows of shops and houses, and this is labeled the most narrowest street in Europe. So it oscillates between 111 and 135 centimeters, and the street itself is 80 meters long. The main purpose of it, of course, nobody can drive down here or anything, but the main purpose of it was for the firefighters, because in the olden times, fire was one of the most dangerous things in the towns, right? So the firefighters needed to get through to the other streets to make sure that they can put out the different fires. So after exploring Brașov, either if you're hiking or you're walking through the cobblestone streets, one of the things I recommend is to stop for a hearty Romanian meal. Now, it's renowned for its traditional pretzels. So you will see pretzel shops all throughout the city. But another big thing you're going to find here is their super pointed spirit called Toika. Now, this is an alcoholic beverage, and it's made from the result of plum and the fermentation of the plum. So what they do, what is custom here, is they actually have a shot of this before and after your meal because, of course, it aids with digestion. The Romanian cuisine, what you will find, is best described as hearty, rich in flavor. The dishes are made from hearty, homemade, free-range, hand-to-melt organic products. It is a perfect reflection of their Aegean roots along with their complicated history, right? So you have the influences from their neighboring cuisine. So you have the Turkish, you have the German, you have the Hungarian, the Greek, and the Slovak. So you're going to see that all throughout the Romanian food. Now, the households in Romania, they were guided by a simple principle, is they made the most out of everything that they were using. They made the most of the land, the nature, and the food that was given to them. Basically, it's a principle arising out of necessity, right? So they had, there was a lot of scarcity back throughout the decades. Now, considered to be their national dish is the cabbage rolls. This is one of my favorite dishes. Of course, they're made with usual mincemeat here. Usually you'll find pork in the Romanian cabbage rolls mixed, of course, with herbs, rice. They cover it with the cabbage leaves. And they always serve, what you'll find here is they will serve it with polenta and sour cream. Now, another thing you will see lots of is mishi, which is this grilled ground pork and beef kebabs, similar to the Turkish kebabs. Now, of course, you're going to have to wash that all down with Romanian beer and wine. Why wouldn't you? All right, so we're in Transylvania, so we need to talk about the legend of Dracula. So the character of Dracula was based on Vlad III. He was a 15th century prince who ruled Wallachia. Now, which is an ancient region that existed in Romania long before the lands were united. So his father, Vlad II, he was one of the original members who found the Order of Dragon, which is Dracula. This is a group of noblemen who vowed to military defend their common lands and their Christian values against invaders, right? So the family monarch, Dracula, he passed it down to Vlad III, who of course was his son, and due to the family lineage, he inherited it, right? So throughout Vlad III's life, he desperately fought to preserve his title, his lands, the invasions of the Turks, and basically any opponent that overthrew him. And at the time, he was hailed as a hero. He was brave for defending the Transylvania borders. But unfortunately, history has not judged this man nice. He's been judged very harshly. Most of history remembers him basically for his reign of terror that he unleashed under undefended people. So he captured prisoners of war, common criminals, any of his political events. And what he did is he impaled them with these huge stakes driven into the ground. And thousands of people suffered a slow death, unfortunately, at his hands. So this kind of inspired, of course, the book of Dracula. Now, despite the castle's fame as the home of Dracula, this is purely fiction, the Bran Castle. It was all out of speculation in Bram Stoker's novel. Throughout the novel, he never really identified the castle, and I actually reread the novel a few times. He never identified it by name. Readers actually, long time ago, presumed that it was the Bran Castle, and misconception throughout the centuries basically fueled the fire and, of course, the thriving tourism industry. Now, Stoker never actually visited Romania when he wrote his book. Now, of course, the larger setting is undoubtedly set in Transylvania, but the Bran Castle in its position, and you'll see when you go there, it's located on this small mound overlooking these beautiful fields, and you see mountains in the distance. It's a far cry from what Bran described in his novel as this turd castle on this rugged mountaintop, right? So Vlad the Impaler did not live in the Bran Castle. They pretty much didn't have a connection. It was very weak. It goes back to he may have stopped by as he was going through on different military expeditions. Instead, Vlad spent most of his time in the Poianeri Castle, which I'll show a little bit later in my presentation. This is a heavily fortified castle about 100 kilometers south of west. And it's in rugged mountain surroundings, very similar to Stoker's version of Dracula. Now, the date and the circumstances around that Vlad the Impaler's death are unknown, but they assume that he died in 1476. Now, let's talk about the Bran Castle, because the Bran Castle not only has the history of Dracula, but it has an unusual history. So the Bran Castle was approved by the king in 1377, but only if the people of Brașov and the nearby Transylvania built it and funded it themselves. So unlike most castles, this castle was a castle of the people from its very inception. Now, later, it was used as collateral against royal loans borrowed from the city of Brașov. The ownership of the Bran Castle actually bounced between a lot of different noblemen that was giving out loans of the time until 1953, when the king ultimately failed to repay any of his loans. So the castle reverted back to the people. Now, the castle itself was used as a primary military fortress because it's strategically located on the borders of Transylvania and, at the time, Wallachia. Now, it was used more as military, a custom station where the merchants who would come through would pay their dues. But it wasn't until 1920 where the Bran Castle turned into a fascinating history, and it had a brighter turn. So the marriage of Queen Victoria's daughter, Princess Marie of Edinburgh, and Ferdinand, Prince of Romania at the time, in 1893. So the young couple were quickly married. They gained prominence in Romania. And when they came back, they loved her incredible kindness, right? So her charity, her beautifully, the princess was actually crowned the Queen of Romania. And her husband ascended the throne in 1914, right around when World War II. I think it was shortly after the World War II beginning. So with her considerable political weight, Queen Marie actually encouraged her husband to enter the war against Germany. And of course, as you know how that suffered, the Romanian soldiers suffered, and it was Queen Marie who opened up a hospital to them. When peace was declared at the end of World War II, Brașov loved Queen Marie so much, they actually gave her the Bran Castle at that time. And she's lived here for the rest of her life. She had an architecture help her remodel the castle to make it more warm and livable. As you're going through the castle, you'll see all of her decorations. The gardens are stunning with exotic flowers. You'll see and you'll hear stories of how she spent hours with her daughter, who she was incredibly close with. And you see some of her dresses that are throughout the castle. So I didn't know that great history of the Bran Castle. I hope I shared a little history that is new to you. Our next stop, we will go to visit one of the fortified villages. So with so much migration and colonization going on in the Middle Ages, many medieval settlements and larger towns in Transylvania were built with, of course, defense in mind, right? Everybody's protecting their property at this time. And now these well-preserved buildings are actually a living testament to the fascinating plot-twisting history of Transylvania. They are about 150 fortified constructions in the area itself. Now, given their importance, two of these historic attractions have been included, of course, in the UNESCO heritage. The citadel of Sighisoara, which is one of the best preserved inhabited citadels. And then there's, of course, the 7 villages of fortified churches, also known as Saxon villages. Now, these were founded by German settlers in the 13th, 14th century. And of this group of villages, as you can see, is the most popular one is the Viking village. And this village is most popular, and you might have heard of it. The Honorable Prince Charles himself, His Royal Prince Highness, I think it is how you say it, he actually bought a house here and actually spends time here. So it's one of the big things that it's contributed to. All right, so after visiting the fortified villages, Sighisoara, this is a small city. So Sighisoara has that really interesting history. It dates all the way back to the 1100s. Back then, the Hungarian king was begging the Saxons to move to this part of the world in order to help to defend the borders. So these German craftsmen and the artisans took him up on it, and it resulted in this beautiful fairy tale fortified city in the heart of Romania. Now, along with being an old Saxon city, Sighisoara also has another claim to its fame, because this is actually the city that Vlad III, Vlad the Impaler, was built in. Now, there is a ton of great museums throughout the city, which include the clock tower and the weapon museum. So the clock tower we're looking at, you can climb up the clock tower. It's an absolute must when you're here. It was built in the 14th century, and it gives you incredible views over the city walls. Now, as you're going through Sighisoara, as you can see, it's incredibly colorful. I like to call it, it's like a box of tropical crayons that exploded all over the town. As you can see, the oranges, the yellows, the pinks, they stand out on every single street, and every windows and doors are colored as well. So the walled Old Town consists of 3 main streets. Mainly, they're really going to be easy for you to explore by foot in one afternoon. It is a very touristy town, so you're going to see a lot of tourist shops that sell some of the same old magnets. You're going to find a lot of Dracula shirts. But if you dig deeper into the town, you can find some incredible gems here. They have great handmade crafts. They have incredible art galleries. They have incredible woodworkers. So when you go through, you will see these incredible woodworkers who have their shops open, and you can go in and see how they're carving the wood by hand and their unique ceramics. All right, so welcome to Cebu. Cebu is actually a cultural European capital, and it was named as Forbes Europe's 8th most idyllic place to live. So Cebu played a key role throughout the region's history, even being the capital of Transylvania for a while. And today, it is a shining example of Transylvanian architecture and history, boosting impressive historical Old Town. The Old Town is divided into the upper, which is once where the citadel, which was once the citadel with its masterly restored houses, and then there's the lower town that lies beyond the citadel walls. Now, located on a hilly area, the streets are really narrow. They're winding streets, but they're beautiful. The houses look like as they've been taken out of this like miniature model of a typical medieval town as you're going through. Now, the houses, they're not as flawless and perfectly preserved in the West, but sometimes they are scratched, they are crumbling. You can see that they are weathered, but it's no way a negative feature. It gives it to its authenticity, right? You get that character, and it gives it that more charming. One of the things I want to point out, though, that makes it really neat is the most distinctive feature, and I want you to look at the picture on the left that we're looking at. So the most distinctive feature that you see, it's called the Cebu eyes. Now, the Cebu eyes, there are legends about them, and you can kind of see the eyes if you you look through them, like at the top of the roofs, and you can see very clear that those are eye shapes. Now, there's the rumor behind them. Some say the authorities used to use these windows to spy on their citizens to make sure everything is in place. But nevertheless, it is a really unique to see, and it's a fun story. But what's unique is when we take you through, and all these stories I'm sharing with you today, when we take you through all of these towns, you will get to hear all of these great stories. We have local guides that bring these histories to life as we're going through. All right, the Transylvania Road. Now this road, if you have time to drive, do not miss the Transylvania Road. Often called one of the most beautiful roads in Europe. So this road, it took 4 years to build. And it was built on the orders of Nicolae Ceausescu. Now, for those of you who know Nicolae Ceausescu, he's a complete dictator, I guess I could use that word. And legend has it is he wanted to create a strategic route across the Fergus Mountains to basically bring troops from the north should Romania ever be invaded by the USSR at that time. Now, the legend, of course, ignores the fact that there was actually a perfectly good road and a far quicker route that has already been built around the mountains. But whatever, they continue to build the road here. The road access a very top, as you can see as we're going through, you have these hairpin turns. So what happens is as you're going through the road, you're going to get a chance to go through these hairpin turns, and we are going to go up to the last village that is seen there, and it's Capitini. And this basically translates, it's Capitini Pama Tului, and excuse my pronunciation, my Romanian isn't that good, but it translates into the end of the earth. So this takes you actually to the real castle of Dracula, where Vlad the Impaler used to live. So Poianeri Castle, it is pictured here on the left. So that Vlad was able to rule the whole region and repel against, of course, all of his armies. Now, the castle has a lot of terrible stories about Vlad's cruelty, but and you can see as you're walking up to the castle, you can see his impaling, and apparently this used to go all over at the time. So when you're going up, I have to warn you, this trip is not for the weak of heart. To get up to the top of the castle, it's very hard. There's about 1,500 very, very, very steep steps. So another place you can see too is the RJ's Monastery, which is pictured here on the right. And it's another stop along the Transylvania Highway there. Now the monastery has a unique story behind it. So Romanian architecture, 16th century. The building actually looks like a piece of art with its green surroundings, the white walls, they reflect sun perfectly. So the legend behind this palace is Mastiro Manol. He is the main architect of this temple. And when he was building this building, it did not go the way he wanted to build. And he was unable to finish the project. So he decided to try an ancient custom of placing a living woman into the foundations of it. Now, this way, what he did is he sacrificed his own wife, and he locked her in the foundation of the monastery walls forever. And after that, his construction went better, and he actually finished the monastery. But also, he paid for his act. So according to some ancient texts, Radu Negiro was his name, and he was the founder of the monastery who paid for it, was delighted by his work. And what he wanted was he never wanted another human being to build a building just like this. So what he did is he decided to take Monel and lock him in the monastery's tower forever, so he wasn't able to escape. So nobody else could have another building like this. So this is a fun story. As I mentioned, we like to tell stories at Viking and tell you unique histories. And you can actually enjoy the legend of the RJ's Monastery if you go visit it. Now, Transylvania's true beauty, of course, lies in its countryside, where they have a simple way of life. The locals actually, it's a very community life. They have great hospitality, and it will capture your soul right away. There's, as I mentioned, beautiful landscapes, quaint villages. It's a very slow pace, and it is a perfect way to kind of end your Romanian holiday, just to relax. spend some time in a local village, taste some local foods. There are some regions with unique charm that will give you the most authentic countryside experience. Locals here live off the land. They preserve all of their traditional customs, their crafts, and way of doing things. For example, wood carving is so important and widely used here for all types, small and big decorations. And it's known as the land of wood. And once again, you can go to the workshops, talk to their workshops. You can also bike between the villages. There's great bike rides and stuff as well. Once again, this is the place to enjoy traditional Romanian cuisine because you're going to get fresh farm to table food. Now, finally, that I want to talk about for my nature lovers, there are so many places you can go hiking. Near Brașov, there's the a.k.a. Craiului National Park. It's considered to be one of the most visually spectacular mountain ranges. The Carpathian Mountains are here. And actually, you might recognize this mountain range we are looking at. If anybody knows the movie Cold Mountain starring Nicole Kidman, Jude Law, and Renee Zellweger, this is actually where it was filmed. So this is a 90,000-acre park, offers dozens of hiking trails. It could take you 2 days to go up to the South Ridge Trail. Plus, they offer a whole bunch of different outdoor activities. a.k.a. Craiului National Park, that is a tongue twister for me, is home to also 1,000 different species of flora and fauna. And they have large species of wolves, bears, and so much more. Next, there is the Raitatsa National Park. So this park is absolutely beautiful. It's a paradise for hikers and photographers. In 1935, the government of Romania actually set aside this land at the Raitatsa Mountains, and it created one of the country's first national parks. And today it has some of the most outstanding views. They have the incredible, there's over 100 different glacier lakes throughout the park. So you can have a chance to go explore the different glacier lakes. As I mentioned, there's many different options to go throughout for my hikers. This brings us to the end of our virtual journey of Transylvania. And as you can see, it's not just about vampires. It's got a phenomenal history. This region offers you for so much to see, and it is definitely worth going on. With Transylvania, what we do is we offer it as an extension on our Viking cruises. So we offer a cruise called Passage to Eastern Europe. I'm going to talk about our 3 cruises that you can tie on the Transylvania. So the first one is Kiev, Black Sea, and Bucharest. So this 12-day cruise tour will offer you 3 days to explore Kiev's rich history, the 1,000-year-old Ukrainian capital. You'll get to sail the Dnieper River, get to experience Ukrainians' enduring treasures in Odessa, which is the pearl of the Black Sea. You'll get a chance to admire riverside vistas and charming cities steeped in the incredible tradition and the ancient trade route around the Black Sea there. And then our cruise tour will end in Bucharest, which is Romania's large capital. And from there, you can add on a post extension to Transylvania. We have Passage to Eastern Europe. So this journey takes us from Bucharest to Budapest, or the other way around, sailing the Danube River in 11 days. You get to explore 5 countries, and they include 8 guided tours. So once hidden behind the the Iron Curtain, this journey will take you to places that aren't visited by many Western travelers. You'll get to explore Bucharest's 3,000-room Palace of Parliament. You'll get to make banitsa bread in Vidin. You'll get to explore Belgrade's Ottoman and European treasures. We'll sail through the most scenic part of the Danube, seeing the Iron Gate. You'll get to go visit a Croatian family. You'll get to see the Hungarian daredevil Puca horsemanship, and then Budapest we end in. And then our final journey, this is our 23-day journey. This is our Grand European tour combined with our Passage to Eastern Europe itinerary. So this will take you, this pretty much the ultimate cruise if you want to experience a river cruise through Europe. You'll get to experience one of Europe's best rivers, the Rhine, which has got the windmill dotted waterways of Holland, the grand cathedrals, the historic cities and the medieval towns of Germany, the Rhine Valley with their medieval castles, spectacular beauty. You'll get to go through the Main Canal, which is quintessential Germany. You'll hit the Blue Danube, where you'll get to see more medieval towns. You'll get to experience food and wine in the Austria-Vaca Valley. You'll get to experience Vienna's musical history. And then we continue on to that Passage to Eastern Europe. So all of our pre and post So our Transylvania pre and post, it's a 3 nights. What we do is we include a 4 to 5 star hotel located in the heart of the city that includes select meals. We have a guided tour, our tours, depending on the length of the excursion you choose. What is nice is we'll always have a Viking host on site to assist you, and all transfers are required. So our excursion, what would take you for our extended tour to Transylvania. Day 1, we will arrive in Bucharest, so you will get a chance to relax in Bucharest. We will have a tour director to help you out. Day 2, we will drive to Transylvania. We'll drive through the countryside of Transylvania. You'll get to see the Peleș Castle, in Sinaia. You'll also get to see the incredible monastery too. We will also continue on to Brașov, where you'll get to experience the Saxony during a walking tour. You'll get to see the incredible main square with the Black Church, named after that fire damage. Our evening is going to be great because you're going to get a chance to enjoy the evening and enjoy an incredible Romanian meal on day 2. Day 3, well, the morning we will check out of our hotel in Brașov. We will continue to a short drive to the Bran Castle, where, of course, we know now it's not the Dracula castle, but you will get to hear all the incredible stories about Queen Mary and how it was her summer residence. Our tour journey, we will end on day 4 back in Bucharest, where you will have more time in the Romanian capital. Now, I just highly went through this itinerary. With this itinerary, we include 2 hotel stays in Bucharest, 1 hotel stay in Brașov. We include 3 meals, 2 guided tours, one of the Peleș Castle and the other one of Dracula's castle. And then we have a fully Viking escorted tour director on board. So like I said, I did high level. Lisa has all the details on this. So if you want to break it back and get into the details, reach out to Lisa. Now at Viking, we're known for the Thinking Person's Cruise. So on board of our cruise ships, we have built them to make sure we continue to enrich and enhance your travel experience. So we want to help you fully immerse yourself in the destination, either if you're in port or on our ship. So on board, we have a thoughtfully curated library that will give you books from the region. We have lectures from local lecturers or guest lecturers on board, cooking classes with our chefs, wine tasting with our sommelier. We even provide inspiration before you leave. We have an online filmography that will provide you with a comprehensive list of movies that will complement the trip. We also provide reading recommendations, cultural profiles. We even have recipes. So one of the recipes that I have here, and Ciorba de Varza. Now, this is a famous Romanian food. You can take a picture of it if you want to make a chance to make it. It's probably one of the most famous foods in Romania. So here it is. It is a sour broth made of a type of meat. So it could be chicken, it could be beef, it could be pork, whatever meat you have at the time, mixed with vegetables, all boiled, served with steaming bread. And of course, they top it with sour cream and spicy peppers on the side. So you can find all of this stuff. We have all of our recipes located on our website that you can actually try. Now, some of our reading recommendations. So one of the books, of course, I have to recommend Dracula's Bram Stoker. Everybody needs to read this book. I've read it a few times in my life, and it's a page turner still to this day. And then there is the In Search of Dracula. So this is actually the history of Dracula and the vampires. So it is actually the true legend of Prince Vlad, the Impaler. So you can have a chance to do some reading before you head to Transylvania. We also have Viking TV. The world is a remarkable place, and we like to share it through Viking TV with our live streams, on-demand programming. We have a library that includes short documentaries, interviews, lectures, classical music concerts. So please go view Viking TV. It's absolutely free, and be careful. You might spend hours on it like I do. I know right now it is that time of travel that we're all kind of hesitant about booking travel because we don't know what's going on here in Canada yet, right? So what we have at Viking, we understand that is if you book your trip with Viking now, which I recommend you should, we have small ships. I was just looking at itineraries for 2023, and we're already selling out into 2023. So we are booking really fast. So if you want to go on a vacation, it's important to talk to Lisa. Even if it's not a Viking cruise, if it's any sort of cruise, cruising is going to be selling out any sort of trip. So please work with Lisa. All of the companies have incredible different programs like we have with our risk-free that can help you out to ensure you have a safe trip and your trip is protected. All right, Lisa, we are done today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Jordana. That was absolutely wonderful. And we're going to open it up for questions. Now, I'm just going to put in the chat right now for anyone that may have joined us a little later and might have missed the beginning. I will be putting this up on YouTube. Once it's available, you'll be able to click it and watch it in its entirety then. So I put the link to my YouTube channel. I've also put a link to my Eventbrite page. Now, if you were to follow me on Eventbrite, you'll be hearing when Jordana and I meet again in the fall when we're going to be talking about Vikings touring Russia, which I'm so excited about. I'm so excited about. Russia is one place that has been on my to-do list that I have not got to yet. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all about Russia. So that's going to be happening in the fall. So you could always find out when it's happening if you just check on my Eventbrite. It isn't posted yet. I'll just throw that out there. It's not posted yet. And I also want to say that if anyone has any questions after the fact, by all means, you could reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to answer. And if I can't answer it, I will check in with Jordana. So if anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself or you could throw them into the chat. And if not, then I hope everyone has a lovely, I guess for the Canadians on here, Victoria Day. For the Americans, next week, Memorial Day. And from those that have joined us from farther afar, just have a lovely weekend. And I don't see any questions right now. So I just want to thank everyone, specifically my guest, Jordana. Thank you for joining me. And I want to thank everyone that took the time out today to join us on this presentation. Really appreciate your company. And I guess that's it for now. And everyone stay safe. Do take care. Bye-bye.